Oh, we're back.
Powered by the Zapata brand studio. Straight out of Jersey with Jersey Jay-Z and the freak of New York, Gregg Valentino.
What's up, guys? We are live Thursday. Me, Joe Zapata, my man, Gregg Valentino. How you doing, Greg?
Just a dog chasing his tail, Joseph. Always.
The dog chasing his tail, like always.
Just a dog chasing his tail. Watching all that shit on
kind
TV.
of a crazy show today. We got so he's actually, the person I'm bringing on, his name is Jeremy Scott. He's got his own YouTube channel, JWS. Everyone like and subscribe. He's a friend of our show, friend of Gregg's. He's a big fan of Gregg's and Lee's and everything. He competed in the men's health and fitness. He was actually on Ric Drasin's show on YouTube. I actually have a picture right there of him and with Ric Drasin. He was on Ric Drasin's show with his girlfriend. He's actually going to come on. He's got an interesting story. He spent some time in prison, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But prison turned his life around, where he actually got into bodybuilding and became sort of turned things around. But he actually just recently tore his bicep. And that injury, and that can mentally mess you up. So I'm going to bring him on right now. Jeremy, what's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, guys.
So,
how's it going?
Yeah, it's going.
You're looking good, Jeremy.
Appreciate it. Well, looking good and feeling good are two different things, Joe.
Yeah. What happened at the gym on Monday?
Well, it was not yesterday. The 24th, yesterday's the 24th, so it's 4 a.m., about 4:20 a.m. yesterday.
Okay.
So basically, my routine is I train every 2 days, right? I don't ever train 2 days back to back. Well, another time for why, but normal routine, I get up at 2, I go at 4. It was back, biceps, because I do back, biceps, and calves, because I split the leg in 3 on the splits. I don't have a leg day. So long story short, I get in there. I always start off with curls first. And I normally don't do the exercise I was doing was the easy curl bar, but I was using the standard standing preacher bench. And it's got, how it has one side on an angle and the other side this way. It's flat. You can go either way. So what I was doing is I was using the flat side and I was leaned over this way. And, I went through the 2 warm-up sets, right? I only had a quarter on each side. It wasn't heavy to me. Not at all, So, I was going, got, one right before failure, you know what I mean? Because the next set, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I really get into it, make, as I always do, make the muscle do the work, intensity to failure. So like any other day, 1,000 times doing this, I just go to set it down, right? Like this, and pow, my left one just, it was loud. I have the video of it.
Let me see it. Let me see the arm, the color of it. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a distal tendon tear right off the.
Oof,
so, my bicep is rolled up here. You can see it. See my right one is way different. You see,
Jeremy,
than this one.
You went to the hospital, right? I hope.
I went to the Well, what happened was my gym's 5 minutes away. So when you tear something, especially distal right here, you got veins in there. And when you tear something like that and it explodes, it can rupture a vein. Believe it or not, it could.
Right.
Just following this long enough, the bodybuilding game and knowing things, I knew immediately what happened. First, what went through my brain is, how the hell did this happen with this lightweight? But I knew it could happen, but nah, right? But I knew it. I grabbed my arm. I'm screaming, fuck, right? Because I knew it. So I just grab all my shit. I run out to the car, and I'm like, should I drive myself to the hospital? No, I'm going to drive home. I'm 5 minutes away. I drive home. I come to the door. My wife's sleeping. I'm like, get up. You got to take me to the hospital now. I got to go to the hospital now. She gets up. She's like, what's wrong? She sees my arm. She gets queasy over this kind of stuff. I don't know why. And she's like, oh, God. I'm like, we don't have time for that. I got to go to the hospital. So I go to the hospital. The emergency room these days is garbage. All right. They're like, yeah, it's torn. Here's some Tylenol and have a nice day. I'm like, no MRI to make sure, nothing. Like, I got insurance. What's the problem here? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to call my doctor at Johns Hopkins, because my main physician is also a doctor through Johns Hopkins.
Good hospital.
He sees me the same day I go over there. He goes, "Oh yeah, I got to send you over to ortho right like today if I can get you in there." So he calls over ortho because they're usually backed up. He's like, "Look, I got you in there for tomorrow. You got to because with this, when you tear this, you don't want to let this sit any longer than you've got to." Right. Because the longer it sits like this, it'll scar, and then they can't stretch it back out, and you'll be stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw the ortho today. He's like, he gives me the whole spiel. He's like, "Well, you know, you can go through life without fixing it." I said, "Yeah, that option's off the table. Even if I wasn't in the bodybuilding and aesthetics meant anything, I'd still want my arm back as best as it could, the way it looked before." He said, "Okay, I get that." He said, "Well, this is what we do. You know, we cut you here. They drill a hole through your bone. They stitch the tendon. They put the button through the bone, and they tie it, or they stitch it, and the everything grows up around it or whatever." And he's like, "Most of the time, the operation surgical one is stronger than your existing one." He's like, "So you won't have to worry." But and then he was like, "Well, if you don't get it fixed, I know you don't want to go that route, but he's like, you'll probably have 30 to 40% in that neighborhood less strength in this arm." I'm like, "Why the hell would I want that? I told you it's off the table." He goes, "Okay, well, I'll set it up. We'll get the surgery, because this is like a big deal." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Yeah, I want it done." So we're in the process of, now I got to go to this other Japanese doctor. He specializes in elbow, bicep, wrist, hand stuff. Just nothing from the shoulder down. That's all he does.
When though? Like how long?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Cool.
So the ortho said, "You have technically, we can wait. Not that we're going to make you wait," but he's like, "Don't worry. You have up to 3 weeks to fix this." That's what they told me. Yeah.
Never heard
so, that. Because of whatever they use now, he's like, "You don't want to pass that because it'll start to scar, and then we can't." Basically, it'll start to scar up in there, and then the tissue inside will start to try to grow around the muscle tear, and then they can't stretch it out. And if they did, you'd be walking around with your arm stuck here.
You're gonna you'll have a golf ball up there. You won't even
and I don't want that, because the tendon, right. So he's like,
he got it done in 2 days. Yeah, you got to tell him I need it done now. Don't let them pull. I never heard of 3 weeks. Never.
Well, it's probably going to get done by Monday. He's just saying they like to give you the worst case scenario up front, and so he was like, "I can't do your." He does most of the surgeries for like all the Ravens and the Orioles here, like ACLs, knees, all that. So he was like, "I'm backed up for 5 weeks, so I'm going to send you over here. He should be able to get it done within the next couple days."
Yep.
I said, "Okay." So tomorrow I go see him, and then we're going to get the show on the road. And I'm like, "Yeah, just knock me out and do what you got to do. Get it over with." You know what I mean? Because I want this out. To me, also, I want it done faster than later, so I can recover sooner than later.
Right.
Basically, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I did ask him. I said, "So," and my wife starts laughing. I said, "So I'm okay to go to the gym and do legs, right?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Good. At least I can go do something." You know what I mean? So this is more mental, tough. Like, the pain's there. I can deal with the pain. Dealing with the mental part, this is my life. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy the gym. Most people, a lot of people out there, they go through the motions of just the lifestyle and just because they're doing it. To me, you know what I mean? It's my life. Without it, I don't take medications. That is my medication. I don't take anything for anxiety, nothing. I take the gym. That's where I go.
Right. So. You just make sure to get on that right away, because my friend just had the same thing done, and he got it done in 2 days. They jumped in there, and then he took a little Babania, which helped him recuperate more. So, so
we're doing that too.
Yeah, you make sure you do because that'll help, and that BPC 157, all that stuff is pretty good too. You know what I mean? Especially for that. Just I would throw everything at it, once you're recuperating. But leave it alone. Obviously, don't flex it or anything,
He's like, just don't. He was like, "You're okay to move it. Just don't go anything past 90."
Right.
Like, don't try to go 120. Don't try to stretch it out. Don't try to supinate, because that tendon is what's responsible for this too, the supination
Yes.
of your, So it's like when he added today, he was like, go ahead and supinate. Let me see how far you can. And I can't go any, because it's not attached. So it ain't going to do it.
Yeah, don't even fuck with it. You know, it's funny because my friend has done too. And I know other guy. I've been doing this since 1972.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
50 years, over 50 years. So, my friend had it done. The first thing that happened to him was when he got back, he was so scared to curl after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he got it. He was covering a hot tub with a at home. He just was covering, like he was pulling and he's a big guy. And so you never know when something like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid, obviously, when you come back to do the, like the curl. And
oh yeah, you can't be.
But from now on, though, try starting your. I mean, I could tell you different little things to do that will change the whole thing with your arm. You'll grow. I swear to God. But if whenever you do the first exercise, you should do a biceps. I would do a machine curl or a cable curl. Just like get the blood in there first. Don't.
Greg, here's the thing. Go watch, because my channel, I started listing all my workouts. Mm-hmm. I normally only ever do cable curls on a seated preacher and standing and single arm with the elbow behind the body with the stretch lightweight. You know what I mean? You don't need a shit ton of weight like everyone thinks you do.
You don't. And
I make the muscle do the work.
Make
obviously.
The muscle do the work, obviously.
Right.
But the thing is, you could do opposites. Like Arnold used to do shit like this. Like for instance, I've done this. Let's say I'm going to do biceps. I will actually go to the the cable machine. I'll take the V bar. And I'll do lightweight, but I do it strict, and I do a lot of reps, maybe 50 reps. And then I'll wait like 5 seconds, do it again till it burns. So now it's weird. You get a tricep pump. I do like 5 sets. I'll get a tricep pump and then start my biceps. I know that
because the blood. No, the blood's there. It makes sense.
There's something about that. It gives you a wicked pump. Arnold used to do that. You know what I mean? People don't know that, but he used to. I remember
you saying that in one of your shows once. Yeah.
Right. If you try,
actually, a couple of shows. Yeah.
If you try little things like that, I swear to God, it'll change your arm workout and everything. It's really good to it's weird the way that works. I do it even with chest. Like if I'm going to do my chest, I'll actually pump a little bit of back. There's something about the opposites that does something.
Yeah.
I got that from Arnold himself, watching him in a gym, and he used to do that. So
yeah, like in the beginning for a while, I would train chest and back, and it does something. But as you know, I don't. Over time, as you grow, you get bigger. Some things, some weeks, and over time, what used to connect well with you stops connecting well with you because your anatomy starts changing. You become wider, stronger. You know what I mean? So what worked for a year may not work anymore, because that's my biggest message on my channel. I always say to people on my channel, everybody's always like, "What's the best exercise?" The best exercise is the one that you feel best. Well, there is no such thing as the best. Whatever one you connect with and you feel it in the muscle and contract with, that's the best one. There's no such thing as the best.
Why don't we give you a plug? So why don't you tell people what your channel is so we can give you a little plug here.
It's fairly new. So if you just type in JWS, that's what it is. But it won't come up in the feed and the algorithm just yet because I'm so new. So you have to find it. But it's under JWS. That's what it is.
So it's JWS on YouTube.
Right. Or if you try to type in my old, because it used to be before I started the fitness channel, it was Jeremy W. Scott. So that's why it's JWS.
All right,
so you can search by
people in the chat. First of all, John Mancini Fitness. Natalia, how you doing?
Candy. Hey, Natalia, Anthony D, John Mancini. Yeah, man. What's going on, guys?
What's going on? Independence Dreams, Candy Kate.
Natalia,
Kate. Just want to give everyone a hello, little love in the chat. Jeremy, Anthony D, how did you get into bodybuilding? Now, I know you had a little time in prison.
Thank you, Anthony.
And there's nothing, it's in the past. A lot of people go through a lot of hard things. You overcame that and became more of a positive person with your YouTube channel. So, if you want to get into a little bit about the prison and maybe what happened and then how you changed it around.
Yeah, well, all right. I'll start briefly prior to prison of why I was, got into bodybuilding mainly, but prison really kicked it off for me.
Yep.
My brother's 10 years older than me. Like I said, he used to go into Gregg's gym, Powerhouse in New York. Because he used to.
Did he really?
Yeah, he's met you before.
Are you local? Do you live near me or no?
No, I'm in Baltimore, but he would come up with some guys he knew from New York.
Oh, did I sound
yeah. Over the counter. I said that last time. He used to come get some over the counter meds.
Oh shit! I'd love to see what he looks like. You can send me a picture.
Yeah, I will. I'll send it. I'll send you a picture of his to your Instagram.
Where did he come from? Was he? Because I might be able to. My brain might. Where was he coming from? Like, was he upstate? He wasn't up by Lake George, was he? Or was he?
No, he just had friends from New York because he went to University of Maryland in college.
Okay.
And then high school he went here too, but he had a lot of friends from New York.
Okay.
That were in the body because my brother was into bodybuilding in the mid '80s. Well, early '80s all the way up through the '90s. So it was way different back then, as we all know. So, but he used to travel up there. That's how I knew about Gregg before there was internet. You know what I mean? Magazines.
Right.
My brother would be like, "Yeah, I go up and see this guy."
I'd love to see your brother. I might know if I saw his picture. I could know. I might put him in with the group of guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like I remember.
I tell you what, I remember he came because he came back one time. He went up. He went to the Powerhouse Gym with his friends. So he came back with these sustenance.
Okay.
And I'll never forget him. And he was obviously, you know what I'm saying from there.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So.
It might have been Russian. I had a lot of Russian.
Right.
I can't remember. I had the preloads. It depended when what time.
It was it was the ones already in the needle.
Okay. The preloads. Yes.
Yeah. So what were they called? Something jets. What were they? I don't remember.
Ready Jet.
Ready. That's right. That's it. So I knew where they came from. I knew all about you already before all this started with the internet. So you know what I mean. I've been around it my whole life. I'll be 45 next week.
God bless. Hey, happy birthday. When's your birthday?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
When you say next
August
week?
2nd.
Oh shit!
August
I'm
2nd.
August 5th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Leo.
Yeah. God bless. Leo the Lion.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. So when I was younger, and my brother was bodybuilding, he's 10 years older than me, and when I was younger, I would play around with his weights. I'd start lifting weights, middle school, and for natural young, I got pretty jacked for natural. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's all in the genetics of the family. Me and my brother have good genetics, but so I was always somewhat into it, but I was like, yeah, I like it, but I don't think I want to pursue this. You know what I mean? Because I became a master Honda technician for 20 years. Over time, that's what it was. Except for the time of
my daughter's.
Except for the time when I went to jail, I don't count that 4.5 years. So what happened was I had a dealer's license. Yeah. This is like 2009. Buying Hondas, and I was fixing them and I was reselling them. And I bought this one Honda Civic from the original owners. They were actually customers. They traded it in. I was like, well, let me buy it from you. Instead of you trading in it, I'll buy it. I'll fix whatever's needed and I'll resell it. Good people, So I bought the car. I fixed whatever was wrong with it. Right. I put it on Craigslist. This is when Craigslist was the shit for selling cars. Yeah. So this girl from Pennsylvania, about an hour away, contacts me, wants to buy the car. I'm like, okay, come check it out. She sends her dad out to check it out, right? I'm going to try to make a long story very short here for everybody.
Okay.
So he comes, I'm like, this is the car. He's like, okay. I'm like, you want to test drive it? No. Like, you sure? Why not? Like, go for it. Here's the keys. There's the dealer tag on it. Go around the block. Go wherever you want. I don't care. You know what I mean? That's good. I said, okay, fine. Because I'm selling it as is. Mind you, the car is titled. It has a Maryland title. So just to give a background, if you sell a car, you have to sell it with the law that the car is titled into that state. Right? So you can, if you're selling it as is, you can do that. Because the title follows the car of the state. Make a long story short, they wanted to buy the car from me. So she contacts me like 3 days later. She's like, I got the money, but I don't have a way to get down there to get the car and drive it back. And I had a truck and trailer. She's like, well, would you deliver it to me and I'll pay you extra? Sure, no problem. I'm thinking, everything's cool. Put it on my trailer. I take it all the way up there, right? Like a month goes by. She calls me on the phone. She's like, the transmission doesn't work in this thing. It went out on me. I'm like, first of all, I offered for you to test drive the car twice. Secondly, there was nothing wrong with the transmission. And thirdly, what do you want me to do about it? Because I sold it to you as is. End of story. Why are you calling me now? Because whatever. So what ended up happening is she let her boyfriend, I guess, do a fluid change and work on the car, and he effed it up. He fucked it up, right? Mind you, her boyfriend ends up being an investigator for the Adams County court. So what happens and what ends up happening here is, since I delivered the car, or this is what they initially charged me with, that was illegal in the first place. It took me forever to win the appeal. I'd already done the time. So they charged me with theft by deception of not paying and going through. When you let's say it's a Pennsylvania title, Pennsylvania car, you have to go through a notary, you have to pay the state tax and all that shit there. That's how Pennsylvania works, Commonwealth. Well, it didn't work that way in my case because the car had a Maryland title. I don't need a notary. It's not a Pennsylvania title. Mm-hmm. So initially they charged me with theft by deception, trying to say her boyfriend was behind this because he, I don't know what the hell happened, but there was nothing odd about this whole situation. They were working on the car. They fucked up the car. I didn't do nothing wrong. Long story short, they charged me with theft by deception, saying I tried to deceive the state by not getting a notary and paying the taxes on the sale. I'm like, that's not how this works. I'm telling you, it's not how this works. But whatever. They give me 4 to 8 years because they do split sentencing in PA. It's Commonwealth. It's not like a straight boom. So he gives me 4 to 8 years, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, all right. So I end up going to jail basically, and the whole time I'm trying to fight this appeal, right? I end up winning the appeal on the case. So they send me to, I don't know if you ever heard of Camp Hill. It's in Pennsylvania. It's a diagnostic prison. It's fucking huge. They diagnosed me, diagnostic, which means they find you a home jail out of the 20 some that there is in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
Right. That's how they do it. So normally when you go to prison, you have to complete some kind of, they give you these programs. Like either you had something fucked up in your life, you do drugs, you're a drinker, your crime was violent, whatever it may have been, you have to complete something as part of the process to get parole.
Okay.
So when I go through diagnostic at Camp Hill, where they're trying to find me a home jail, the guy, it's classification basically. So the classification counselor guy that does, he's looking at me, at my record and everything, my background and my life. He's like, I can't give you any programs. There's nothing to give you. And he said, this is completely ridiculous why you're here in the first place. This is retarded. Like, so here I am, a guy that everybody normally gets some kind of program to complete while they're in prison to get parole. So now they got to find me a home prison that will take me, that doesn't, because they're all program oriented, depending what programs you got and where you're going to go. Mm-hmm. So they sent me to Waymart, which is in Waymart's all the way up near New York, basically, and Poconos, near the Poconos. Like it's all the way up, like in the corner, like you know what I'm talking about. I don't know, Scranton. Are you familiar with Scranton? You guys, yes. Like you know where that is, right? Mm-hmm. So they sent me there, and long story short, this prison, the CO, the correctional officer that I get on the gym program and all that. So I sign up for the gym. I sign up, for work. All right, I'll work in the kitchen because you gotta sign up to do certain things. They're just not gonna let you sit in your cell all day, right?
It muted.
For a job.
Oh.
So I go to the gym the first time. This prison has the most state-of-the-art freaking fucking gym you've ever seen. It looks like you walked into a Gold's Gym. The CEO that runs the gym is a bodybuilder. So I'm like, holy hell, right? So
mm-hmm.
Like, all right, I can get into this here. This is nice. This is the nicest thing in the whole place, right? So along the way, the first book and magazine I found was a Flex. It was a Flex, a muscle sport, and Mike Mentzer's high intensity book. They were in the library in the corner, right? So I grabbed those, and I already knew about Mike Mentzer and all, but I was like, you know what? Prison is the perfect place to try the high intensity program, not overtrain, because your nutrition in prison is very limited. So you don't have enough, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking the less is more approach. I'll train intensely once every 3 days. You know, the other days I'll just walk steady cardio, whatever, you know what I mean? And over time, I was there 4.5 years, Mike. So
Right.
I'm reading the magazine, you know, Gregg's in there, everybody's article. I'm reading all that shit, right? Because you got to, in this game, as you all know, you got to take a little bit of information from everybody, not just everything from one person. And you put it together for yourself, and you figure it out as you go. The people were, you know, oh, what are you going to do with that book? You really going to follow that Mike Mentzer book and only train once every 3 days? I said, yep. So I had one guy that was training with me with the program. And when I left there, mind you, natural, I'm 5'8". I left there 170 pounds. But like, I mean, good shape for natural late.
Right.
While everybody else was overtraining, you know, they go to the gym, train every day, you know, like you're never going to grow that way. You overtrain, train too much, too frequently, the same body part, it ain't never going to do shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when I was leaving there, people were begging me for that book. They're like, give me Mike's book. Give me Mike's book. So when I left there, I had a new passion for bodybuilding. I'm like, this is the journey I'm now going to take, because I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed because it's so many different, you know what I mean? It's so fun. Everything is, it's always figuring something out. You know what I mean? It's always a journey. It's never stale. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't get old. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what happened with me. I got out. I won the appeal. But they made me plea out to an Alfred plea. If you know what that means. The Alfred plea protected them from me suing them for wrongful imprisonment. Basically.
Okay.
They're like, no parole. You're good to go. Have a nice day. You were right. You were wrong. I'm like, yeah, but I can't get the 4.5 years back that you screwed me.
No, you can't.
So
you can't get it back.
But I didn't complain the whole time I was there. I just filed my appeals, and I had my lawyer, and I did my thing. I didn't complain. I just went on with my life, because you don't have a choice. You know what I mean? So that's that. And now I look back on that now. That was 10 years ago.
So now, how did you hook up with Ric Drasin?
What's that?
How did you hook up with Ric Drasin? Ric Drasin.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me, okay. Joe? When you went out,
I can't hear you.
Joe, when you went out, something happened, Joe. Joe. Uh-oh.
Hold on, I hear you.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Try one thing. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yeah. You can't hear us.
I can't hear you.
Let me try something. Hold on.
Give me 1 second.
I hear you. Yes.
We'll figure it out.
It's me and Joe. Joe.
Can I hear you? Can you hear me, Greg?
I hear you fine, Joe.
Okay.
I hear him too, but I don't think he can hear us.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear Jeremy? Oh shit.
I think he logged out right there. He just jumped out.
All right, don't jump back in.
He can click back into the link. But let's give a shout out to these people in the chat real quick. John Mancini, it's a little muffled. Dan, how you doing, Dan? Natalia, Joe, I don't know how to say your last name.
Tazidi? I can't see it either.
My brother's in there. Windward Attack. What's up, Windward?
Windward, how you doing? Is he back?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Jeremy, can you hear us? Jeremy,
yep.
We heard you fine. You were fine. It was us that was not. You were good.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
It was us. We heard everything you said. It's
that's
us.
Cool.
Yeah, it was us.
Don't worry about it.
No, I was saying, how did you get a hold
of
Ric Drasin?
Ric Drasin.
Oh, so what had happened was when I came home from prison, when I got home, I stopped training because I just got out after 4.5 years. So I was just trying to catch up on life a little bit. It fell to the wayside. I was getting on, hanging out with my family, my brother, and I just put it to the side for a while. And it was like 2 years, and then I met my wife, and then I started getting back into it. And I was, watching on YouTube, and he used to have Rick's Corner, and I was watching it. So one day I emailed him. I said, hey, look, I watch your show, he emailed me back. He's like, started talking to me. He's like, any questions I can help you with? And I was like, I'm not wasting your time. I'm really passionate about this. I would never waste your time. And we just got to talking. We became friends. And he wanted, that was the beginning of my journey. You could see I'm like probably 40 pounds lighter there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it was, yeah, he took me under his wing and he got me on with see.
Yep.
So he got me set up with Old School, and he looked after me. And I talked to him all the way through, all the time, all the way up through when he was in the hospital. Nobody knew. All I thought, what he told me was he was in the hospital getting his knee redone or something because he had metal in his knee.
Yeah. Yep.
And then all of a sudden, because he was in my messenger, I kept it there. The next day, I see he died. I'm like, I was just talking to him yesterday.
I'm still not sure how he died. I mean, I knew Rick fucking.
Nobody does. It's a mystery.
I don't know how the fuck he died. I don't know if his heart gave out when he was getting a knee replacement. I don't know what the hell it was.
It's a mystery.
Complication from the surgery.
Was it really?
That's what he said. I don't
Usually,
know
sometimes if you have a heart issue and you don't know it, or they know it and whatever, and you get a surgery like something even on your toe.
Yeah.
You know what Bob Marley died from? He had cancer.
His toe. Didn't he have an infection in his toe?
He had a cancer on his little toe, and he used to play soccer a lot, and he didn't want to get it cut off, so he figured, I'll just get radiation. That fucking shit spread all the way. Should have just got his toe cut off. He would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yes, he had never known. Rick could have been in there, like getting knee surgery. Maybe his heart gave out when he was knocked out. Maybe a bad fucking anesthesiologist.
Yeah, it was crazy because he was talking to him the night before. He was in the hospital talking to me on Messenger. Like we're talking. He's like, did you send that to my house for me? You know what I'm talking about, because he used to get some stuff from me, and I'd send it to him. I was like, yeah, I sent it. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. I don't know. That was like out of the blue.
Oh yeah.
I was shocked by that.
Shocked.
Just like Jerry.
I was shocked.
Jerry Ward was also.
I
was shocked with that too.
I just was talking about that. I just did a post. And Erin talks to my girlfriend almost every single day. My girlfriend and Erin talk almost every day. And even she's still like, going through it with that. Because Jerry was such a smart guy. And I would have figured, like when you had that pain, instead of thinking it's like, go get it checked. And Erin works, she's a heart surgeon's nurse. So she works, that's what she does. She's there when they put new hearts in bodies and stuff. So she knows all about that shit. I don't know. I was shocked when my girlfriend's the one who got the message from Erin. And she was like, I couldn't believe it. I was taking a nap. She woke me up. She's like, you're not going to believe Jerry Ward just passed away. I was like, no fucking way.
I was shocked too when I saw that. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I had just.
Well, you're always shocked when you see it's just some of these guys, as you see, they're healthy here one day and the next day you open up your phone and. Dead. I'm like, died. I'm like, what is,
Lee Priest had eye surgery.
Yeah, Lee Priest said.
Yeah, eye surgery. So.
I'm gonna break his balls about that.
He just had eye surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, his cornea.
Damn.
So he was all banged up and everything. So Jeremy,
bad week for everybody.
You ever think about competing more, like doing some shows and stuff?
Right
now, obviously, but.
With this, I don't know if everybody wants to see this again. I'll show it to you, but
you can see it just when you're talking stuff.
It's did I want to right before this happened? Yeah. Do I want to? Would I? It's not out of the question, because one thing I'm determined to do is come back bigger and stronger. I'm not going to let this. You know what I mean? It's mentally debilitating now.
Yeah.
But things happen for a reason. You know what I mean? Of course, as you know, when you go through stuff like this or surgeries, like Greg knows, or whatever, stress on the body, you're going to lose some muscle, you're going to lose some weight.
Oh yeah.
It ain't nothing like I can't get it back. You know what I mean? You just gotta be patient with you gotta respect the process.
Sometimes it's like when you're stuck in mud, your car's stuck in mud. Sometimes you got to go in reverse to go forward, So sometimes you got to take a step back and just you got to let that, your first goal is let that heal, because you can't do anything. I mean, you could possibly do shit with your other arm or whatever, but, you're not going to be able to do much of anything else, or legs. You can concentrate on legs maybe,
So that's my plan, Greg. I'm going to come up, I'm going to work the legs, you know, and by the time I can use my arm and I'm able to use my arm to train everything else, because you got to, use your arm, whether I do chest, whether I do back, you can't pull, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't push.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it. So what I can do is put some massive wheels on in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean? Why not?
Still go to the gym, eat good. Let me tell you something. If you eat good, you take a little babanya and, the right supplements and shit like that. And you're going to, and you still train, you're going to force, your body goes into a healing mode as opposed to the average person that just lays around all day, rings the bell. I'm in pain.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not. I won't be doing that.
The gym is a therapy for most of us. I mean, the gym.
It is.
But when you work out, you force the healing process in your body.
Yeah.
That's just what you actually tear down little growth plates within the cell. That's how we grow and get bigger and all that shit. But when you work out, your body goes into a healing mode. You know what I'm saying? It says, oh, we got to heal now. And, if you work out while you got that, even though it's legs, your whole body heals like a tree. It doesn't grow one branch at a time. You understand what I'm saying? So you will actually help healing your arm by doing your legs, by getting the blood flowing, by forcing your body to release more hormones and all different healing properties,
Yeah. That's why people don't, I have an old belief that works. And I read it one of the old magazines. I think it was an old Flex magazine. This is years and years ago, but it works. If you take a month off in a year, like let's say you're really hardcore training, like you religiously do this for bodybuilding purposes, not just, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? So it's beneficial if you take 1 month off. If you take 1 month off, right? Some guys stay on cycle nonstop. I don't do that. I'll cycle. I'll never come off, but I don't just keep it up there pegged out at 2-3 grams a week, for years straight. So what I normally do is about every 6 months, I'll take like 2 weeks off, and then another 6 months I'll take two weeks off, and then when I went on vacation, I took that whole month off. And believe it or not, when I came back, I was bigger and I was stronger, just by doing nothing, letting the body just.
Listen, let me tell you. Back in Arnold's day, those guys would only go on for like 4 months out of the year. They went on before. They would actually train most of the time. They weren't on stuff. That's why if you saw Arnold or even pictures of Arnold when he wasn't going for a show, he wasn't nearly as big as the Arnold you saw standing on stage. Same with Danny Padilla. I know because, I know these guys. And I'm telling you, they were not on all year long. That didn't start. The first person I ever heard doing it all year long, believe it or not, was Rich Gaspari talking about that. You never go off. That started in the mid 80s, but before that, guys would go off because you got to clean out, and then your receptors become like open. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Right. Because
that's why you never really saw bitch tits years ago. Like if you look at the bodybuilders in the 70s, 1 or 2 guys you might see a little something going on. The worst one I saw was Franco Colombo in 1981 when he had that really
in the Olympics.
But he didn't have all that before. But that's because he went crazy, trying to top Arnold with like Arnold won, now I gotta win, But I'm just saying, you didn't really see, the guys back then didn't do massive amounts. I mean, Arnold wasn't even really that huge for a contest. Everything's
but I'll also say this too, Greg. I'll also say this too. The stuff back then, and even the stuff you had back then, was way better, more pure, better stuff than they produce today.
Yeah, because I was getting pharmaceuticals. These guys today are getting these labs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Test 400. There's no such thing as test 400. They don't. If you see some sort of test 400, that's something that some Bajagaloop made in a fucking
in a bathtub
somewhere. You'll never be you're not going to go to some pharmacy overseas or anywhere and see test 400. They just don't do that. But I saw that shit floating around and stuff, and I'm like, dude, that shit's.
And not to mention anybody that uses anything like test 400 or 500 that these labs do have, to keep that suspended, they use a chemical called glucol or whatever. Anyhow, it's harmful. It's poison. It's poison to you. Like you could smell it. You smell it a mile away. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it has that specific smell to it. It's horrendous. But if you ever smell that, don't use it, man.
I still would not. If I was ever, I mean, I'm 64, so I ain't fucking coming back nowhere. But if I ever wanted to get jacked again, which I don't want, I'm scared of my age, you know, in the heart. But, you know, I would never fucking use all the shit that these guys take today. I mean, I took a lot of amount. I'm not saying the amount. I'm talking about you know, when I took shit, it was steroids. You know what I mean? I was selling steroid shit, you know, which was from, you know, legit, you know, American stuff. But I couldn't take some shit some fucking guy made, Joe Montanaz's made in the lab. You know what I mean? Test 250, 450 and shit like that. Sustanon 450. I'm like, no such thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even the best the Ready Jets from Mexico, which were phenomenal, they were 250. It was, you know, it wasn't a 450. So you guys, you know, these guys that buy the shit today, I don't know what that was. You know, they're crazy.
What's up?
Yeah,
Ben?
I use mine's 250.
Yeah,
and I don't. I mean, I stick to the. You know, I don't stick to all this specialized or use any of this specialized, over the top, all these new. You know what I mean? I just stick to the old school stuff. You test your equipoise, you know what I mean? Master on,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Some super draw, and get on with your life. Some Manavar, get on with your life.
Yeah,
watch
all that super draw shit. That stuff, anything that you have to, oral stuff goes through the liver. Don't believe, like Dave Palumbo talks about that all the time, and he's right. I don't know any pro bodybuilder that sits around like does all these SARMs and all that shit. They've probably experimented with it. But their regimen is definitely, you know.
Here's what I do, Greg, with the super draw. With the super draw, they're 20 milligram, but I only take 10 milligram pre-workout. That's it. Right. So 3 times a week, 10 milligram. That's it. I don't stay on any oral every day. None. Ever. Never.
No.
Never. I don't care what it is. You don't need to. You know what I mean? Either you got genetics or you don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I see guys all the time, like everybody else does. You got guys running around the gym that are on 5 grams, and it looks like, you know, they look like your fat uncle. They don't look like nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter. You could use a whole carload. It ain't gonna do nothing for you. You know what I mean?
It's not. Just be careful with that SARM shit, though, because it's all.
Yeah. What do you guys think of fasting? Because
I don't use SARM.
Fasting is good, but you can't. You know, fasting's a tool. You can't like live on fast. You know, like obviously, you know, it's a tool. It's good. It's definitely. Listen, when a lion on the prairie gets hurt, he doesn't eat. He lays there and he fasts. Believe it or not, and that's how they recuperate. Animals won't eat. If you have a dog at your house and the dog is sick, he won't eat. You know what I mean? Because that's how they recuperate. Fasting is definitely good, but obviously, you know, you can't go fast and then start eating like a gavone, or you're going to get in trouble. You know, I mean, that can cause problems.
Yeah. Ben Garcia says, stick with the basics. Test trend, Masteron and some orals like Clen and Winnie for fat.
I don't like Clen.
That's it.
Oof.
Nah, well.
I get shakes from Clen.
I tried it before. I was shaking. Almost made me look like I was tweaking or some shit. I was shaking so much. I'm like, I can't handle this shit. You know what I mean?
But you take ephedrine, right?
The interesting part about Clen is it works from the side effect of it. It's the side effect that's what's making it just burn more calories.
Right, but I like it. I just, man, me and ephedra, we had a love story. You know what I'm saying? I like ephedra. Yes, it's
yes, sir.
They're all related. You know what I mean? You know, but you know, guys with Adderall and all that stuff. You know, I've tried that. It doesn't do shit compared to. There's nothing to me like ephedra. I mean, that shit. The only thing is you get the fucking little piece of God shrinks like this, and you try to pee, and the little pee drops come out, you know, because you're like, holy shit. You're like a 5-year-old again, like you just came out of a cold swimming pool. You know what I mean? The piece of God's like a little fucking tiny kids. You're like, what the hell happened? Usually it's down there like a horse. I can't fit it in my posing trunks. Now it's like, you know what I mean? You know, but
back 22 years.
And sorry to anybody if you notice me moving around a lot, because I don't take anything for pain, so I'm moving around.
That's good.
That's good though.
Listen, I had surgeries. I just put that video up of me dumping.
I saw that video, Greg.
Yeah,
so I'm moving around due to the pain.
I don't. Listen, Tylenol works best for me. I don't want to pay. My mother had problems with you know, she couldn't take any painkillers. That woman had like pancreas cancer. She got cut open, and she had no painkillers at all because painkillers also. Right? Yes. Because they have a problem with the blood, and it could actually cause bleeding for them. You know, my mother and my sister. So, but I don't take it. I take Tylenol, and I'm fine. I don't understand how people party with that OxyContin shit. You know what I mean? Like
I don't know. No, because when I went to the hospital, Greg, they walked over with it, I was like, what is that? She's like, oh, it's 5 milligrams of oxy. I said, I don't want that.
You know why listen, that
I don't want
makes you,
that.
that makes you chagad. And I don't like anything that makes me like loopy.
No, I like state of mind.
Not, and if you start making me loopy, I don't like. See, I like to. I don't know how people even smoke the. Man,
No,
I don't want anything
I
to
don't
make
do
me
nothing.
mellow. I'm the opposite. If I was a drug addict, I'd probably be a cokehead. And no, I've never tried it, you fucking momos. But the thing is, I like anything that brings you up. You know, makes you feel good. I don't want to sit there like this and shit.
No,
You know,
that's horrible.
I see my friends and shit that fuck around with that shit, and they're sitting around.
Yeah, I don't drink. I don't do none of that.
Me neither. I don't like anything that takes control from you. You know what I mean? Nothing.
Right. I like being in my state of mind. I like being conscious, my well-being at all times. You know what I mean? I can't stand like, you know, I tried getting smoking weed when I was younger. I was like, I can't stand this. I can't. I don't like not being able to. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Man, anything that takes me like makes me a little loopy. Whoa,
yeah,
I don't like
no
that,
good.
Man. No way. I don't know how people like to feel doped up and shit.
Ben Garcia, guys today all have the Buzz Lightyear GH face and bloated guts with 8-pack abs. You know,
well, I got the 8-pack abs, but I don't do the GH.
What's George? I see George, Mr. G's.
He wrote something. I heard that if you have an injury on one side, you can train the other, and the side injured will still grow. I never heard that.
There's stuff I've heard the same thing. Like if you hurt one
I've heard
side,
that too.
And
I've heard that too.
Work on the good side, the bad side. You know, there is. I don't know if it's true or not, but it could. I've
heard that before. I mean, it's not absurd because I've heard it before, so it's not an absurd.
But I got to be honest with you. I would rather like Jeremy do the legs and stuff like that because I couldn't pump my one bicep and the other one. Like wow, it's growing and pumping.
No, it's already bad enough. I mean, it's already like forget about it. Yeah, forget it. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah, I mean,
Dan says you can
I'm debating whether to
go balls to the wall.
No.
I'm debating whether to share the video of it because I have, you know.
Oh, you videotaped it?
Really? Well, because I do videos for my channel of my training.
You should.
So I happened to be recording when it happened, and
definitely put it up.
Yeah, and you can hear it when it went. It sounded like a gunshot went off.
It's funny you say that because when Ronnie Coleman pulled it, you know, I'm friends with Robbie Durand, and you know, the story was that when Ronnie was doing the squats, they were all there, and he tore his hamstring, and when he got up, he's like, "Holy shit! I heard somebody shot a gun or something." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because you can hear it, but a lot of times the other person can't hear it. Although I have seen videos on TV on YouTube where somebody rips a and you hear. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. She wanted me to play it because I didn't watch it because when it happened, you could hear it through because I wear a mic up here, and you could hear it loud as I'm telling you, it sounded like a gunshot went off, pow, right? And I knew it immediately, and I grabbed my arm and I was like, "Fuck," because I knew, you know what I mean? I knew what happened,
right? And
I looked down at it, and I was just like, I grabbed all my shit and went home. You know what I mean? I was like, there's no way that I've heard some guys stay and they keep training because they don't realize, you know what I mean? I'm like, how do you not realize that? You know what I mean?
I don't know how you keep training. You wouldn't be able to curl. You wouldn't be able to lift the bar. You would.
Well, I don't know, man, but I felt it and I still feel it today. I tell you that.
Oh yeah, you're gonna feel it, especially once you get surgery. But you'll be all right. Just keep taking the Tylenols, believe it or not, and you'll be you'll be okay. Don't you'll heal
everything.
fast.
Everything will be all right. I try to look at this in the positive. You know what I mean? Like,
Wait, George, George is asking what's his channel again. George, so they're asking what's your channel.
What's your channel?
You can
say it again so the new guys that weren't here before can hear it.
The name of the channel is JWS, but you might have to search it under Jeremy W. Scott.
Jeremy W. Scott.
Yeah.
I guess if you Google that, it'll tell here's Jeremy W. Scott's Instagram. Here's Jeremy W. Scott's YouTube. Like that.
Let me do this for you guys, and then
maybe you can push up the chat on your phone and just kind of show everybody where they can like and subscribe.
So this is what it is. I don't know if you guys can see it, but
No, I can't.
I
No, I'm
can't
going to
really
add
see
the link to your channel in my description.
Yeah, send it to Joe.
Yeah.
He'll put the link in there.
I'm going to add the link in the description of this video so we can like and subscribe. But thanks, everyone. I'm going to have to wrap. I'm getting some technical issues over on this end, guys. It's just I'm about to throw this shit right out the fucking garbage. But
there you go.
I think it's your brother George. He's
I think George is actually giving me the whammy end of the fucking end.
Hey,
George,
Joe.
Yes.
Tell your brother I said hi and thanks.
Yep.
Thank you guys for having me on. Greg,
Yes.
it's been a pleasure.
No problem, my brother. No problem. Great to see you.
I mean, I can flex the good one for you. That's
There
about
you go.
it. I can't.
Wait, how far are you from Berwick over there where George is? Are you far? Aren't you here in Pennsylvania, right? He's in Pennsylvania.
Me? I'm in Baltimore. I live right next to the I live next to the Ravens training camp, Greg.
Okay, I'm stupid. I'm thinking
They're like 3 minutes away. I'm like 10 minutes from Camden Yards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
the Baltimore.
When I get better, I've always been wanting to come up in New York. And,
Yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome.
Absolutely.
Come up.
Yeah. But it's been a pleasure. I thank you guys, and thanks for the support.
Jeremy, I appreciate
God bless
it.
you, Jeremy.
Appreciate it, Greg. Thanks.
I love you, brother. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
All right, guys.
Love you guys. Thank everyone's in the chat.
Thank you.
John,
all right.
Ben Garcia, we love you all.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Have
a good night.
Right. Bye-bye, Jeremy.
See ya.